Drills Talk, episode 30. In this episode, we're going to discuss the top 4 ways to build your circle. This is based off of a blog I wrote entitled, It Takes a Village. Now, I know there's a bunch of you out there that feels that they can do it themselves, and you probably can do it yourself, but you cannot maintain it yourself, and you cannot grow it yourself. So please, this episode is definitely for you. In the t-shirt, it's a gummy bear dabbing. So let me explain. I just like the t-shirt. Drills Talk, episode 30. This is the top 4 ways to build your circle. You know the routine. Before we start, hit subscribe, hit like, comment if you would like. Every Monday, new blog. Every Wednesday, new vlog, Drills Talk. Every Friday, a new beat produced by me. Who knows what genre you will enjoy. Join us. Please do. Number one is to realize that a one-person village will fail. So yeah, in the beginning, we talked about doing it yourself and how it is possible. You can absolutely probably do what it is you want to do yourself. Yeah, but how are you going to improve upon things? How are you going to, I would say, scale up on your business alone? It's almost impossible. When you're first starting out, I know I first started out, you do everything yourself. And you feel that, okay, well, if I'm doing everything myself, cool. But think about how little you did in the beginning. Like you felt that you were doing everything, right? But how minuscule was that compared to when you really started to experience success? You couldn't have done all of that and said, okay, well, this is everything I need to do, period. I would never need anybody else. But then you compare that to all the people that you work with when you are successful, all the marketing firms, the advertising, channels, the social media influencers that you actually contact. All of these people are helping you do what you want to do. That they're reaching what you can't reach. They're doing what you couldn't possibly do yourself. They're part of your village, part of your circle, even if they're not close knit or really, close friends. They're part of your circle. They're helping you. They're in your village. They're making it run. They're keeping it going. They're making it bigger. We have to understand that, yes, it is cool. And believe me, I'm one that hated group projects and, depending on other people. And it really made me uncomfortable. And I felt like I was doing most of the work anyway. I feel your pain. But understand that when you are chasing a dream or chasing a goal, there's got to be more than just your effort, because just your effort, you're one person. What can 5 people over there that are trying to do the same thing you're doing versus the one you do? They can do it faster. They can do it with more, ideas than you probably can. They can do it and make a mistake and recover quicker because, again, they have multiple people working with them. It's just a benefit to have more people around you. I'm not saying you give them complete control of what you're doing. I'm not saying you stop busting your tail and trying to have your hand in everything. Cool. If you're not going to give that stuff up, then don't give that stuff up. But understand that if you continue to bust your tail and you have some assistance and some help, how much better would that village be? How much more success will you have? A bunch. Please consider it. A one-person village will fail. Number two is to acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses. So your strengths, you can have a lot of strengths. It can be like, oh my goodness, I only have that one weakness. That one weakness can be the reason why you fell. That one weakness can be the reason why, which the weakness can be not thinking you need any help, why you never grow. Why you are stuck or seem stuck in this one position. It's like, how am I stuck here? I'm working harder, or I'm working as hard as I can. Yeah, you are. But one of your weaknesses will be realizing that if you're working as hard as you can, how would the results get any better than what they are? They probably won't. There's a one-to-one correlation with that, right? Like, okay, well, I'm doing all this. I'm putting in 18 hours a day. I have to sleep. I have to eat. I have to attend to people that are around me in my life. Okay, well, I can't do any more. but there's 10 people, right, out there that can all give you an hour. You know what I mean? And that's 10 hours right there that you couldn't come up with because you reached out. That weakness needs to go. And I know most of us have that weakness, so that's why I'm honing in on that one. But your weaknesses can be anything from speaking in front of people, asking people for money, selling a product and basically asking people for money. That can be something you have a problem with. But a person who's been, working in retail sales or, selling insurance, it's no big deal for them. They always ask for money. It's whatever. But for you, you just want to create. You just want to be in the back and, make some decisions. But as far as when it comes down to getting the money, you have an issue with that. Okay, well, guess what? That person doesn't. And then with that person doing what they do and you doing what you do, that weakness is gone. So how much stronger is that village now? Knowing your strengths is knowing your weaknesses. And if you have a problem with pointing out weaknesses, you can just look at your strengths and see what's missing. Sometimes you have to play a lot of games with yourself because some of us are just really stubborn and, they don't want to tell themselves the truth. And I know that can be the case. So let's just look at strengths. What are those strengths? Okay, now what's missing? Those are your weaknesses. That's what you need in your village. That's what you need to go seek out. That's what you need to address. Because if you don't, you're never going to get better than what you're doing. And it may be okay. You may be, let's say you're living fine and you don't, want for anything. You don't have a lot of spending money at the end of the month, but everything's covered and you have a couple $100, maybe a couple thousand based on what type of lifestyle you live that you can spend every month, right? Cool. But you're working 18 hours a day. How long can you sustain that? And you have to sustain that to make the money you're making because that's the effort you're putting in and that's what you're getting out, right? You haven't figured out a way how to basically put that on autopilot. One way of putting that on autopilot would be to get other people to do it, right? You get 2 other people and they can work 6 hours. Now you're only working, 6 hours a day. How does that sound? That sounds like way better. And we're making the same money at least, because you can train them to do what you're doing. So at worst, if they don't have any ideas or no skill and bringing nothing other than those man hours to the table, then you're making the same amount of money. Now you pay them a little bit. If they're not bringing much to the table, you're just paying them an hourly wage. That's probably not much. And if anything, you're making the same amount with less effort. So now you have 12 hours and you can use some of that for sleep. You can use some of that for coming up with another hustle or the next idea until that needs more people around you. Then you just keep on doing it. Understand your strengths. Be okay with your weaknesses. No one is perfect. And I'm not saying embrace being average or embrace, not being perfect. You can always strive for it, but understand that it's something that is not attainable. So understanding that that's not attainable, you look for those, aspects in others, and you can make your village as perfect as possible. Number three is to create your ideal village on paper. So you've written down your strengths and weaknesses, or you thought about it. If you thought about it and you didn't write it down, write them down. So you putting all this, you're making a perfect village and you put all your strengths in it and you're like, that's great, but that's one person. All right, what are the weaknesses? You definitely need this, this, and this, right? You need those 3 people around. Let's say you're in music and you need, whatever you not, right? So let's say you're just a singer. I only sing. Well, you need a writer, right? You need a producer. You need a mix engineer. You need, somebody to market. You need somebody to sell it. You need a social media, guru or very well versed in, just marketing online. You need all of that because your only strength is singing and, maybe performing. Okay, cool. But the only way you can really succeed is to get those other pieces in your circle, get those other pieces in your village. And writing that down on paper will really help you. Let's say outside of music, I know everyone's not a musician, so let's just say real estate. Okay, well, I'm really only a middleman. I like to fix and flip, but I contract the fixing out and I really don't like looking for properties. I rather them come to me. Okay, well, if that's the case, then you need a real estate agent. You need a couple of contractors because if your go-to is on a job, they can't work on what you just bought. And you're on a ticking time clock because you also need a bank or multiple banks that's going to fund your project or multiple credit cards that are going to fund the fixes until you sell that house, get that money, and you're able to pay off those cards or pay off that bank and do it again. You need that team. You can't do it yourself. Understand that. That goes with anything. Everybody needs a team. They may not be, in your sense, part of your team, but it's what's needed for your business or your dream or your goal to actually be achieved and continuously run. Consider it like that. That's your village. Everybody in your village is not a close friend. Everybody in your village you won't talk to every day. But without that person in the village is lacking. And if you have that on paper and you know exactly what you need in your village, you can do the final and fourth step. Number 4. Number 4 is to network and begin your search. It's so much easier to go out there in the world and network and look for, all types of people that can help you when you know exactly what you're looking for. I know exactly what I need. I don't need another person who will buy and fix and flips. That's competition. What I need is this. I need these people. And I'm going to grab those people. And when I run into them, I'm going to introduce myself and say, hey, I do this, because they may need me in theirs, or they may not have one and would just willingly join minds. And now we have a village of 100% and everybody's in. They're not spreading themselves. Okay, yeah, I work for this company, but most of the time I'm just showing houses. I feel I'm bigger than that. Okay, I think you're bigger than that too. You scout out some houses that fits this description. I'm going to buy them. I'm going to fix them. I'm going to flip them, and we're going to split the money afterwards. May not be 50-50, of course not, but they found the house. They're certified. They can, get their 3% on the sell. They can get another, bonus for a finder's fee. Y'all can really have a business going, and then y'all find contractors. And of course, in the beginning, it's kind of iffy. You're scared. There's a lot of money on the line, but you find that company that just doesn't waste your money, that makes a timeline and hits that timeline or finishes before, they're in the village, right? And you're like, hey, I'm going to do this 4 times a year. How much work can you guys handle? Well, we can do about 8 jobs. Well, 4 of them you already got. And eventually I'm going to grow to where maybe I can give you guys all 8 every year. Cool. Well, now they're in the village. You have to know what you're looking for. You can't go out looking for something if you don't know what you're looking for. Meaning that you have to do the steps previous to this. You have to know your strengths and weaknesses. You have to write that plan down. You have to see what's missing. You have to realize, okay, I need this. And when you see that, you will definitely go. And if you do have a problem talking, you probably won't have much of a problem this time talking, because you know this is exactly what you need to benefit the whole village and benefit yourself in what you're trying to do. You can benefit both the person you're talking to and yourself. And that may take away the fear of this conversation, because you don't feel that you're just taking up this person's time, that you're interrupting this person, that you have nothing to give. You have a lot to give. And that will take away the jitters or the uncertainty you have when you're going and talking to this stranger about whatever it is you're talking about, a business, a big goal, a big event, whatever it may be. Believe me, just go try it. Drills Talk, episode 30 is the top 4 ways to build your circle. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's Drills.com. Check this out. It's Drills.